CQ, and welcome back to the 599 Signal Report. I am your host, Ron, W2ELS. In this special episode, we have a guest joining us here in the 599 studio. Stu KM3STU was one of my instructors at Long Island CW, and we share a nice conversation about his journey and about learning CW in the community. So, sit back and welcome Stu KM3STU. CQ, and welcome to the 599 Signal Report. I have a special guest with me on today's episode. It is KM3STU. Stu, you are coming in at 599. How am I sounding, Stu?
You're 599 into northern New Jersey. Oh. Excellent signal.
Very cool, Stu. It is great to have you on board the 599 Signal Report. We are very excited to hear from you and hear about your CW journey. So I'm just going to ask some questions, and I'm hoping you can just just share everything with me. So, Stu, tell me about your CW journey. What got you started?
That's a funny story. I think it started because I was playing a certain video game, and a part of the game had CW in it. Morse code, I used to call it. You know, I never heard CW before, but Morse code, and that got me interested.
Very cool. What's that video game, by the way?
I think it was Fallout 3. if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I've heard of Fallout. That's for sure. Wow, very cool. So tell me more about how'd you get into. So then talk about amateur radio. How'd you get your license? What prompted you to go get your license?
I think I've always been interested in radio. I'm not a very technical person, but I've always been interested in radio for some reason ever since I was a kid. I never did anything with it, and then I finally took the novice test, or as a technician, right? And after I passed, I didn't do anything with that, for 10 years. Then I thought I should maybe get serious about Morse code or CW. And I stumbled upon this video on YouTube. I think it's Ham Radio Crash Course. Yeah, that must be it. Everybody knows that channel.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about the Long Island CW Club. And so I joined, took a chance, and wow, what an organization. That really lit a fire under my butt for CW.
So you got your license, you heard about LICW, you probably started in one of the BC1 classes. Tell us about that experience.
Oh, I was a total noob, knew nothing. I didn't know any characters, nothing. And the system they have there is just excellent. They ease you into it, no pressure. The thing I really appreciated was just the people that showed up. Never mind the instructors. Instructors are so courteous and professional, but just the other students, they were very welcoming, and they knew that you knew nothing, which in my case was correct. It was a breeze. It was a friendly atmosphere, and most of all, fun. Kept me coming back.
Very cool. Yeah, that's definitely one thing about LICW is it gets you started. It starts you literally from nowhere and gets you going and getting there. And you mentioned something about getting on the air. And we'll talk about that later when we talk about your instructor journey. But let's talk about, when did you get on the air first? What was it like?
Oh, my gosh. So the funny thing is I joined LICW in 2023, I want to say August. And after finishing BC1, I kept hearing the instructor say, okay, you got to get on the air. You got to get on the air. And I was thinking, there is no way I'm going to get on the air. Key fright is what I had. I didn't want to, just go on there, start sending like a lid, as they say, and start annoying people. But it took me literally over a year to get on the air, which is a very long time. So what I did was, my mindset was like, I want it to be perfect then get on the air, which is the totally wrong thing to do. You got to get on the air to get good. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Stu, that's one thing I definitely took away from you, because if you everyone doesn't know yet, Stu was one of my instructors in the BC2 class. And that is one thing I took away, because I did have that similar key fright, and you kept saying you got to get on the air to get good. And that's the only way you're going to get better. And I took that advice and heeded it. And so what would you recommend? I mean, how comfortable should someone be? Should they be able to copy a signal report, a call sign? What's your recommendation, Stu?
I say the best thing to do is be able to send your call sign correctly and be able to copy your call sign correctly. So the first activity you should do is something called Parks on the Air. We call it POTA. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just hunt the activators from home. So activators are the people that go out to the park and they will call CQ POTA. You throw out your call sign, and then when they send back your call sign, you could copy it, no problem. Then, you're good to go. And basically, if you're nervous about the numbers, just send 599, no problem. Then send your QTH, which is your 2 letters for your state. That's it. And you don't have to worry about logging. They take care of everything. And you're going to see your name on the POTA page.
And that is a way for our listeners to hop on and just get on the air. And we talked about in one of our previous episodes about being a strong POTA hunter. So that's definitely something we want our listeners to take advantage of. Because especially if you're an activator, right, Stu, you probably don't care if they're slow or do you really worry about folks that are really slow that are just trying to get started when you're activating?
No, definitely not. If you're an activator, I've been at the park more than I'd like to remember, calling CQ for an hour, trying to activate this park. I need 10 contacts, nobody coming back to me. And then I hear somebody sending, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Right.
And I will work with that person, no matter how, no matter how sloppy their sending might be, I will work with them and work with them. And if they're slow, I'll slow down. If they need to repeat, all these activators want that credit, so they will be infinitely patient with you.
Right. That's right. And I feel like POTA is set up so well for the newer operator. As activators, we're sitting in that park and hitting that call, and don't hearing anything. I mean, there are times you get that pile up, but there are those times where you're just sitting there just waiting. So we encourage you, get out there. Send your call sign. Hear your call sign back and send that 599. Right, Stu?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. So talk about your journey. When you got on the air, you felt you're feeling confident, and they tap you on the shoulder. Hey, you interested in being an instructor? What was that journey like, Stu?
No, I was actually very shocked. One of my LICW friends had recommended me for an instructor position. And I thought, oh, there's no way I could do it. But they encouraged me. They said, oh, we've heard you sending, we've watched you in class, over the many months. You can do it. Very encouraging. And they have a very good instructor training program. They don't just throw you into the fire. They have a kind of syllabus prepared, and they assign you a trainer or a mentor. And once I started, it was so much fun. I had a blast, and it's a privilege.
Very cool. And can you talk about what classes you're currently teaching so the listeners know where they can look for you on the LICW schedule?
I'm currently teaching Intermediate 1.
Very cool.
So I have moved on from Beginner's Carousel 2. I have taught 2 classes for Intermediate 1, and our speed is 12 words per minute. I teach 1 class on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
And the Intermediate 1, students are typically on the air by then, correct?
Yeah. I've had 1 or 2 students that haven't gotten on the air. When I was doing Intermediate 1, I still hadn't got on the air.
Gotcha.
But most of them are on the air, and I think most of them are doing Parks on the Air, actually.
POTA. Gotta love POTA. So, Stu, you mentioned something interesting, and I want to explore it a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind. But you mentioned the community about LICW. Can you talk a little bit more about the community, who you've met, what you've done with LICW? Let's talk about community.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just wonderful people. I remember that when I started attending classes regularly, that same class, you would see the same group of people.
That's right.
I think we call them cohorts. And it's not by design or anything, it's just according to everybody's schedule. And then you start talking, then you say, hey, what's your email? I have really good friends all across the country now that I would have never had the chance to meet because I don't travel much out of New Jersey, unfortunately. But now I've gone all the way out to West Virginia. I've gone to North Carolina, some places that I would have never gone to before to meet up with these people. And, they're just wonderful.
Yeah. Such a great community, such great folks. And you're right. It's not intentional where you say, okay, you're going to be a part of this group and you're going to have this instructor. It kind of just happens. There's many Friday nights where I spent time with Stu and me and a couple others were always just the regulars. We were always just there, and it just so happened, and we got a chance to get to know each other, and it all just works out, and it's all good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, my friends now, LICW friends, all do Parks on the Air. So when I have an exchange with them, we sometimes throw in a little inside joke, during the short QSOs. And maybe if somebody else is hearing, they might be saying, what are they talking about? But we get it.
Of course. So we talked a lot about LICW and you hinted at POTA. So talk about POTA. What got you involved in POTA? Why'd you fall in love with activating and hunting and everything around it?
I've first heard about POTA in one of these LICW classes. LICW has a class called BC3. So when you get to BC3 classes, they are specifically designed to get you on the air and they familiarize you with the exchange formats for each of these activities. So they have a class for Parks on the Air, they have a class for Straight Key Sentry Club, they have a class for LICW Challenge. So, yeah, that's how I first heard about it. And I was hunting the activators for a long time, over a year. And then I finally got the nerve to go and activate.
You got the nerve and you got out there and you activated. What was that first activation like?
Oh, it's totally by accident. I happened to be at a park, which happened to be a POTA park, and I happened to have my rig in my car. I said, I'll just go for it. It is really true what they say that when you're the activator, you're the one in control.
That's right.
Yeah. So you can go at your own speed. You can feel free to keep asking for the call sign again and again. And just like the activators want the credit, the hunters want the credit too.
That's right.
So they will be infinitely patient with the novice activator. And it worked out. I got 10 contacts and it took me over an hour. And I said, thank God I'm done with my first activation.
Of course. That's right. So, yes, that is definitely a part of activating is that 10. Maybe one more extra one and then I'll call it QRT. But yes, activating. And, one of the things we're going to definitely encourage our listeners to do is even if you're still struggling or you're still not ready to call CQ, get your stuff out there, go to the park, and just start hunting from the park. Right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Another thing about POTA, which is amazing, is that I knew nothing about antenna or setting up a portable station at a park. So it was a steep learning curve, but with the help from all my LICW friends,
right.
Man, they sent me this, they sent me that. Hey, take this cable, take this antenna. And wow, what a community. I mean, so generous.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk about a nice POTA setup. Stu, I believe you like QRP. Is that true statement?
Yes, I love QRP. I actually have a sticker on the back of my car. I love QRP. People will probably go, what is
What is
QRP? Why
QRP?
does he love it so much if you're not a ham?
So what is it? What is the magic of QRP that just got you hooked and gets you keep going back to it?
Oh, I just love the concept of not just in radio, but in life, doing the most with the least.
That's right.
The efficiency, it's magic to me. So QRP, especially for CW, you're only using 5 watts.
Right.
Most of the times you're using less. I'm using 4 watts. And my power source is a phone charger. Yeah. And I have that hooked up to my little QMX radio, which is the sound. It's literally the size of a Altoid tin.
That's right.
And I have the power going to my ham stick on the top of my SUV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pure magic. You won't believe the stations that I've contacted with less than 5 watts.
Less than 5 watts.
Yep.
And the setup doesn't sound that expensive.
No, that's absolutely not. I believe the radio, the QMX, I had the company build it and send it to me, and I want to say maybe it's a little over $100,
Yep.
coming all the way from Turkey.
Right.
The phone charger I already had. The paddle, I have a plastic paddle from CW Morse. It's a company that, I'm not going to say it's a cheap paddle. It's very high quality for the price.
That's good value.
Yeah, and I've been using it for over 300 activations.
Wow.
So it speaks for itself.
Wow. You got your worth out of that paddle.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Wow. And then a ham stick with a mag mount or another kind of mount up there?
Yeah, ham stick with a mag mount.
Yeah.
And I forget how much I paid for that, but that was very cost efficient
Right.
too.
Yep. Very cost efficient. It sounds like it'll pack up in a small little carrying case that you can walk out to the car or even just leave in the car because it's just so small.
Yeah, definitely. The funny thing about the ham stick is sometimes I'll go to a park and I'm taking out my ham stick, and I've gotten this comment several times. Somebody will say, "Hey, there's no fishing here."
Of course. Yes, I've gotten many. As you know, when you're in the park, you get many different comments from different people just trying to figure out what the heck are you doing here? Any interesting ones that you can that come to mind off the top of your?
Oh my goodness. I had the park security called on me once.
Oh my. Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, this was during the day. I was set up at a park bench, a picnic bench, and I had the end-fed half wave. It's about, I want to say about 50 feet, 60
Okay.
feet, something like that, running to the park bench. But this was a corner of the park where nobody was using.
Right.
And it was early in the mornings because I was doing 40 meters. And this person was walking a dog, specifically made his way all the way to the corner of the park where I was. And he says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just doing ham radio." And he says, "It looks like you're doing some kind of electrical experiments." And I said, No, it's not an experiment. He's like, "Do you have a permit for this?" You know, this guy's a real Karen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, "No, I don't." So he keeps asking me stuff, but I'm in the middle of QSO.
Right.
So I ignore him. And I guess he got annoyed. And about 10 minutes later, this park ranger comes by. And, she was really cool. She said, "You're not bothering anybody here, but, just had to come by and check it out," and left me alone.
What we're supposed to do. I think we're all supposed to enjoy the park as much as we can, right?
But that kind of negative experience is very, very rare. Most of the time, I want to say like 90% of the time, people ignore you.
Exactly.
And then the rest of the time, people are actually interested,
Right.
Which is the best experience.
Absolutely. Kids have come up and parents of kids and they've asked, "What is it? Can you talk it? Why is there so many beeps?" And you just go and explain and, hey, we might have just started a new ham for the future because they saw you setting up there.
Yeah, we definitely need some more young blood in the hobby.
That's right. Wow, so we covered a lot already, Stu. I think I'm going to go into some rapid fire questions if you're ready to answer them.
Shoot.
All right, so rapid fire questions. Do you even own a mic for your radio?
Well, my mic came with the radio, but I have to be honest, I don't know where it is now.
That's what I assumed. Current sending speed, Stu.
When I activate at the park, I usually send 20 to 22 words per minute.
22. Okay. Favorite key, paddle, straight key, or bug?
Paddle definitely now. Yep.
Paddle.
Yeah, I don't know how to use a straight key properly anymore.
Isn't it amazing how quickly that happens?
Yeah.
All right. Do you prefer to be the park activator or the park hunter?
Oh, activator, definitely. I mean, you get started on POTA, you start hunting and you think that's fun. But when you start activating, oh, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're hooked.
You are absolutely hooked. Favorite QRP rig, even if it's not your own, which one would it be?
I love the one I have.
Okay.
QMX.
QMX?
Yep.
And of your antennas, which one's your favorite?
I would have to say the NFET half wave.
Okay.
And just like I was talking about friends made through LIW, W4EMB.
Yes.
Ed Bennett from Tennessee. He has a YouTube channel also. He made an NFET half wave antenna for me, shipped it. He said it's on the house, keep it, and it's a fantastic antenna.
Fantastic. Yes, I saw W4EMB is making those. What's meters is he running for those bands?
It works on 40, 20, 15, and 10.
40, 20, 15, and 10. So shout out to W4EMB for his antennas. All right, Stu, I think that wraps up our conversation here on the 599 Signal Report. I want to thank you for giving us and talking to us today, and definitely appreciate you coming back. Any last words you want to share with our listeners today, Stu?
I would say get started, don't delay. I would highly recommend LICW and get on the air as soon as you can.
All right, wise words and sage words. Thank you, Stu. And 73.
73.
What a great episode we had here on the 599 Signal Report. I want to give a special thank you to Stu for coming on the podcast and also being a great mentor and Elmer to me as I took on my CW journey. Well, that's all for this time. We'll see you next time on the 599 Signal Report. 73s.